Hello there and welcome to Il Salotto Sessions. I am Sara Seravalli, an Italian event organizer with a profound enthusiasm for design and architecture, bringing over 15 years of experience from my work across showrooms in Milan, Paris and London. Fueled by a passion for connecting people in the design world, I founded Design Pop-Up in 2014, a specification-focused event that has since traveled throughout the UK and Ireland. Today I'm expanding my vision with Il Salotto, a vibrant space, both physical and virtual, dedicated to inspiring meaningful conversations and fostering connections within the design community. I hope you will enjoy my chats. Hello there and welcome to this new episode of Il Salotto Sessions. This morning I'm here with Helen Hare, Director of Projects at GPE and Vice President at the BCO, British Council of Offices. We have a chance to talk about one of my favorite cities in the world, Milan. First of all, Helen, as a Director of Projects for GPE, you're obviously involved in the real estate. What key projects are you currently working on, and do you think that they talk about your effort to push forward innovation and quality in design, which is also one of the themes of the conference this year?
Oh, morning, Sarah. It's really lovely to be with you here today. Getting straight to my experience at GPE. In my 18 years at GPE, I've progressed from being a project manager to director of projects, and I very much wanted to mention that because in doing that myself, I am a huge supporter of the next gen and our emerging talent that is coming through in industry. I think that for every day that we're all here in the office, we've all got much to learn and much to learn from those and that emerging talent that's coming through. In my day job here at GPE, I sit across 4 teams, principally development. So I'm responsible for development project managers who lead on all of our schemes here, but I also hold responsibility for technical services. So that includes our building surveyors and technical services managers who make sure that our buildings are running properly every day. And also flex design and delivery. So that's where we're fitting spaces out. So within that broad spectrum of those 3 teams, we really are covering every aspect of real estate and office occupation. And to top all of that, I did mention it was 4 teams. So my last team is health and safety. So that's making sure that people are enjoying the space as well as enjoying it safely. So that keeps me quite busy. In terms of projects that I'm covering right now, some of our most innovative schemes would have to be our 3 principal development projects. First one is 2 Alderbury Square, where we dismantled the building, the existing building that is, and took every steel piece by piece, and have set aside for reuse. So I think it's currently the single largest steel reuse scheme in the country, and something that we're hugely proud of. As GP have a huge focus on sustainability and circular economy in particular. Alongside that, we have another scheme which is on the River Thames, where we've managed to utilise the river for our river logistics. So we are removing material from site and delivering new materials to the site via a barge on the River Thames. It's keeping transport off the road, reducing the impact to the local neighbours. It's really quite innovative. We've taken the existing glass from that building and we're recycling it, amongst many other things. And lastly, 30 Duke Street, St James's, a new building in the heart of Piccadilly, where they are the recipient of the steel that we removed from our 2 Alderbury Square scheme in the city, and constructing the new frame from the steel that we removed elsewhere. So a real drive on sustainability and circular economy, and certainly one of excellence, which kind of leads me also on to our values at GPE. Values are a core part of everything that we do. And our 4 key core values are around commitment to excellence, being fair and inclusive, embracing opportunity, and achieving more, and more importantly, achieving more together. And that's very much something I see and have experienced within the within the wider BCO. Because if you look at the BCO, it very much is about industry coming together. Because without the membership, there wouldn't be a BCO.
Yeah, it's all a bit overwhelming. I think I feel tired after listening to all the things you're doing.
Sorry.
Okay. Listen, I must ask a question that I've already asked Peter Kerr, who's the chair for BCO Scotland. You guys are obviously very, very busy and extremely successful. So why do you think it's important to still find the time to support the BCO and, as you just mentioned, the next gen?
I think that's a very, very easy one. I've personally been a supporter of the BCO for over 10 years. I think the BCO have, over many, many decades, provided that central hub for the greater real estate industry to come to and reference. The BCO Guide to Fit Out has become a core reference document for industry. And when you look at the broader membership, there are many membership organisations that have concentrations in one particular area, but when you look at the broader membership of the BCO, it really does cover the broader spectrum of consultants, designers, developers, and more latterly, occupiers. That's a big focus area for us, is the occupier group, and very much encouraging that feedback loop. Um, you know, I work for a developer. We have our own experiences, but something that we're all passionate about now is very much listening to the customer, and what the customer needs, because ultimately they're the ones that occupy our buildings.
So you while you were talking about the projects you've got on in London just now, that made me got straight me into Milan. You know, Italy is full of architectural gems that are like 1,000 years old or 500 years old at best. Milan, maybe because it's always been the industrial heart of the country, might not have as many. You know, we don't have a Colosseum in Milan. There is no Venice, the cathedral. Well, there is the Duomo in the middle, but it's the only city in Italy where we could actually have left space for new architecture and innovation. And so we got the Bosco Verticale, the vertical wood, I don't know how it's in English. You got the Zaha Hadid City Life Quarters. You got the Gaulenti skyscraper. So it's the only city really in Italy where they managed to find space to give to architecture and modern design. Do you think this be one of the reasons why the BCO has chosen Milan as a venue for the conference this year?
Yeah, very, very much so. Aside from the sunshine, great food and wine that, of course, we're all looking forward to, there were many, many alignments with what I think we see and experience here in the UK. If I look at some of the great cities of the UK, whilst I'm with a central London focused business, you know, we don't have to look too far to Birmingham, Manchester, and look at some of the other regions who are all strong members of the BCO, but also look beyond some of our large, major UK consultants and designers. Many of them are based in Milan. You know, they've got key offices there serving much of Europe. I think Milan has developed over the years. You know, it's really quite fascinating with its multi-layered, diverse layer of iconic buildings. Very much, they've got a rich heritage. They have a lot of old, a lot of new, a lot of those that you've mentioned already. The team have really enjoyed exploring and putting the tour program together, such that we actually could have extended the tour program further. We've got 12 fixed tours, which is, I think, a fantastic, diverse group of tours for the membership to see. We could have easily increased that, but you know, we tried to pick the best so that, you know, we've almost done the homework for the membership so that they can make the most of their time whilst they're in Milan. I think if we look beyond just the general demographic of real estate, Milan is well known for design, fashion, architecture. You've touched on it being the main industrial hub. I think certainly in my 30 plus years in real estate, I've spent a lot of time going backwards and forwards from Milan, going to the industrial zone north of Milan to look at mock-ups for desks and other elements in our buildings. We've spent much time just immediately outside of Milan to look at stone, marbles, granites, etc. There is so much in and around the history, but also what it's developed over the years. And if we look at, and obviously part of selecting Milan for the conference, I looked at its core development in the last 5 to 10 years in particular. And I think that it's grown more recently in life sciences, fintech. You have over 13,000 financial services companies in Milan now, which is quite incredible. It's one of the largest exporters of pharmaceuticals, which I didn't know. And it's the second largest research hub for pharmaceuticals. Not something I think you'd automatically align with Milan. And it has received significant overseas investment in the last 5 to 10 years. And that in itself, I think, is pretty telling. It has 7 major universities. That integration of education and from the papers that I've read, the encouragement of that next gen layer coming through, again, playing to that piece about the emerging talent. Over 1,300, so that's about 30% of our BCO membership is next gen, and it grows. When we compare the number of events that the BCO provide, and we look at the percentage of those that are next gen created, the next gen are so active in this area. They share knowledge way beyond what everyone outside of next gen does. It's really quite incredible. And I think the last point to mention is just the growth in and around becoming a fully carbon neutral and cycle pedestrian free city. Milan is really putting itself on the map there. It's a member of the C40 global network of cities, and they really are pushing that agenda, which I think, again, aligns to a lot of what we see here in the UK.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I moved to Milan at the end of the 90s for university and stayed 16 years before I moved to the UK. And I try to go back on a regular basis. If nothing else, most of my friends are there. So I've been in the UK now for 13 years, and the city has changed a lot. When I left, it was a bit run down. It wasn't really taken care of. And now all of a sudden it's such an exciting place. And it's not just because of Design Week and Fashion Week, exactly as you said, it's just changed the atmosphere in the city is more dynamic, it's more modern, it's more open. I thought it was very interesting, your choice of venue for the conference, the Super Studios in Tortona. Tortona in the last 15 years have kind of developed much stronger in the design and fashion side of things. Is a big hub for the Fuori Salone. The Super Studios themselves, they're focusing very much on sustainability, like GPE. So again, there's another fantastic connection there. It used to be the General Electric factory, and it's a huge venue. Have you seen it yourself already?
I have, yes. I've been there a few times.
Stunning, absolutely stunning building. And then if you got time, next to it, Giorgio Armani has bought a whole neighborhood where he set up his own headquarters, studios and everything. And you've got the Armani Museum, which, if you like fashion, is a great exhibition to go and see. But in reality, the building itself is stunning. When I went to see the exhibition last time I was in Milan, I was more blown away by the architecture of the museum rather than the fashion itself, which is exciting. And then you go during Fuori Salone in the Via Manzoni, you go to the Poltrona Frau showrooms, and they managed to connect the modern design, the beautiful furniture, with this incredible interiors. You are inside a palazzo, you go Poltrona Frau sofa in front of a fresco. It blows your mind away. And somehow Clerkenwell is like that. You've got the exposed brick, you've got the industrial feel to it. It's just Italy is a bit more arty, if you want, all the pictures and the frescoes and Michelangelo and Da Vinci. So we have a bit of a different edge to combining retrofitting and sustainability and things like that. So I am very jealous. You guys are going to Milan to see for the conference.
You should come.
I'm thinking about it, to be fair. I'm seriously thinking about it. To go back in what you were saying earlier on about the relationship between you as a developer and the occupier of your buildings. One of the interviews I've done recently for Il Salotto Session was with the head of property for the Virgin Money, and they just opened the 3 floors of beautiful floor space, beautiful office space in Glasgow. And she was explaining to me how now the office has become a tool to attract talent. So I don't know if you've seen the same trend down in London or across the country.
I think it's a trend that many are seeing. And interestingly, a lot of people make reference to it being a post-COVID trend. I think certainly in GPE, it's a trend that we were seeing pre-COVID. It's one that's just emerged at a much faster rate. And I think it also aligns with this piece around the office being more of a destination and needing to provide a greater offering, which plays to a number of our seminars where we're looking at what to deliver and why, in the core sense. And we've got a great panel there where we have representation from different parts of real estate, but this also lends itself to the piece that we have around brand and quality, because it has to be about the quality of the offering that you're making available for your staff, and a greater alignment with hospitality, which is something that we're seeing coming through very, very strong. So we're super excited about the seminar that we have there. But if I could just touch on a couple of pieces of research that the BCO have undertaken in the last year. We recently launched the BCO Guide to Fit Out, which covers a lot of the more, I think, everyday areas, or rather what have become more everyday areas around AI, minimizing life cycle carbon, enhancing well-being, but then also then playing to the softer aspect of customer experience. Occupiers, customers, there's so much more demanding of us now as landlords, and we need to consider this. At GPE, we measure our customer experience with our Net Promoter Score, and BCO have also done a huge amount of work in this area, to the extent that we now have a Customer Experience Award. And the committee is currently being formed there, so there'll be lots to update on at the conference in this area. I think it also plays to the wider impact of ESG, around social impact. And this year we have XLP as our nominated charity. XLP are a youth work charity. They were formed in 1996, so relatively newish charity. And they were formed when a school was shaken by a playground stabbing, which sounds awful. And at that point in time, they'd asked for a local youth worker to come in and help restore hope among the children. So in thinking about the next gen and our emerging talent, it seemed only right and fitting that we have a charity that's very much aligned to our next generation. It's very much about taking that next gen support to the next level and trying to capture our youth at a much younger age.
It's very interesting, this point. We've done a lot of work through our events last year about how architecture can actually make, good architecture and good design can support people's mental health and physical health. And, it can create communities. And this is such a big part of what we're trying to do here in Glasgow with Il Salotto. And also, we had a hosted presentation by Gordon Eamon, director of Michael Ayres, which, as you know, is a big practice in Scotland and north of England. Gillian Sear was the chair of the BCO prior to Peter Kerr. And Gordon came over to our Belfast event to talk about the transformational stories and how they set up this system to evaluate the effect that the spaces they design have got on the end user. And then again, connecting to what you said, this trend started before COVID, so probably COVID accelerated, as you said, rather than created something new. I think this is really fascinating how finally, we are putting so much more energy and thought process into taking care of not just ourselves, but the people that work for us. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And for a long time, we've talked about how smart, healthy buildings can create better workplaces, and better workplaces create stronger communities and a happier workforce. And I think it's just building the blocks around that, um, and really looking a lot closer at what we provide for our customers, um, making data-driven decisions, and not just relying on hearsay. Seeing ESG as a service rather than um, just having targets to meet. I think targets are great in many arenas, but there are some softer aspects which I think society is now demanding, and rightly so.
So just to wrap this up, this very interesting conversation, the title of the Milan conference is Make Your Mark. How do you think you've already made your mark, and what other marks would you like to make for the rest of your career, or this year, or whatever you got a time scale for it?
So I think choosing the conference theme was probably one of the hardest things to decide on. If you think about the depth and broad spectrum of everything we've just talked about in the last 20 minutes or so, um, my thought was that it would have been very easy to have selected some of the more, I guess, what I'd call obvious pieces around AI, digitech, smart building, sustainability. Um, and I think for me, these are very much becoming part of everyday working practices. And a lot of organizations are embracing this, which is fantastic to see. But when I looked at Milan and I thought about what it has to offer delegates, and looking at the huge level of change that I think we're all going through on a global level, economically, politically, environmentally, there's so much in all of that. And with innovation as a core driver for many, many businesses now, there are some core principles that I think we couldn't ignore. And this was really about bringing it back to the BCO. And what is the BCO about? We have 5,000 members who all aspire to be part of the membership. So the question is why? So during my vice presidential year, in the lead up to this, I spent much of my time going out networking, asking people why. Why are you a member? What is it that attracts you to the BCO? And of course, networking is a key part of that. It is as I said earlier, it's one of few memberships where we have such a diverse membership base. And so therefore, looking at the program and extending beyond just the knowledge gain that people will hopefully take away from the conference, it was very much about how can we communicate better with the membership? How can we provide a much greater platform for them to network? And network is not just about standing around having a coffee, having a drink, but providing more knowledge-based opportunities for them to do this. And one area that we will be covering is extending that knowledge and awareness of all of the research that the BCO do. Even with my involvement in the BCO over the last 10 years, I've been amazed as to just quite how many research areas we have, and just quite how much the membership is covering. Because this is the other important thing to remember, is that for each one of the research committees, it is made up of our membership. These are not employed or employees of the BCO. These are people that are voluntarily giving their time to the BCO because they want to, because they see value in what they're doing. And so we will be sharing a lot of that knowledge throughout the course of the conference in wider network and breakout spaces. This is aside from the the program of plenaries and seminars that we have. We will also be providing an opportunity for people to meet some of our awards judges, where they'll have an opportunity to understand what goes on behind the scenes, some of the measurement criteria that they use, the work that these guys go through, or guys and girls go through every year, the 60 plus submissions that they get a week before Christmas, that they give their time to over their Christmas holidays to read. I mean, participation, I think, says a lot, and I think it's really important to share that more widely with the membership. I've touched on NextGen a few times. With over 30% of our membership as NextGen, that has been a key part for me in making our mark for Milan. And Oliver Hall, who was the chair of the NextGen group, he has been actively involved. He's been part of my broader conference committee and has been an invaluable support to the whole piece in setting the program. The NextGen are chairing their own events, but in addition to their events, they're chairing their own seminars. A very interactive session, I'm told, this year. And everyone is welcome to join, which again is fantastic. We're really trying to push on greater integration with NextGen and the other members within the BCO. So beyond knowledge, it's very much about bringing everyone together and greater integration and sharing of knowledge.
Right. So if I wasn't a member already, you definitely sold it to me. So I'm already a member, so I don't need to do any catching up to do. But I'm seriously thinking about joining you in Milan and taking you to the Trussardi restaurant next to La Scala for a risotto al Milanese with gold foil on it.
I look forward to it, Sarah.
Helen, thank you very much for your time today. That was really, really fascinating. Thank you.
You're very welcome. It was great to catch up with you.
Thank you very much for listening to Il Salotto Sessions. If you enjoyed the chat, please make sure you share with your friends and follow our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. For more information on our events, please visit ilsalotto.design and designpopup.com. You can also find us on Instagram _designpopup and Il Salotto Glasgow, as well as LinkedIn. Should you have any feedback, questions or suggestions, please do get in touch at hello@ilsalotto.design. We would love to hear from you. Thank you.